Listen, technology is not my specialty. It's actually, what's an anti-specialty? That's what tech is for me. So please forgive me. But what I do know how to do is talk to spirit and to read cards. So we're going to get into the actual good part. Let's get into the messages for the week. We are going to jump right in and get into the day-by-day messages and see what Spirit wants to offer us for our highest good in the coming week. If anybody's out there with my track record, let me know if you can hear me. Hey, hey, Monica, thank you, thank you. Hello, happy to see you. My goodness. What a fun way to start the reading. Hello, hello, El Kabong. Yay, okay. We made it, we're here. It looks like you can hear me. I feel like you'd be throwing up signs and emojis. Hey, hey, Maria, welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for understanding that I'm a witch, not a tech. That's not my thing. That's that's my bailiwick. That's my weakness. That's, you know, I think aren't, if any of my nerds here, in gaming, aren't like tech people weak to magic? And doesn't that make magic people weak to tech? That's what I'm gonna say. That's the story that I'm going with. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I should know better. We're learning. We're learning. Okay. Okay, fair. That's also fair. All right, why don't we just get into the part where I know what I'm doing? How about that? Let's get into this. Oh yeah, and I was saying before, something really interesting happened, so I'll be curious about what pops up during the reading today. I had a dream about my mother, very vivid. My mother died when I was 13, or right about to be 13. Yeah, going on 13. And this is my first ever tarot deck. This is the deck that she got for me. If anybody has ever seen that first video I ever made about like how I got into tarot in the first place. Little fun magic bequeathed to me from my equally witchy mother. Hola, hola, Fernando, welcome, yay. Oh, I'm excited to talk to y'all. Okay, so with the spirit of my funky, funny, brilliant mother hanging out in the room with us, let's get into the cards for the week. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Excited. I mean, yeah, sure, that too. Okay, let's get into it. We are going to start by pulling a card for each day of the week, and then we will get into the weekly forecast for all of the elements. Oh, wow. Y'all, I think you might be confused. For some of you, the incel chat is 3 doors over, so you're welcome to join that. Thank you to the mods. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Okay, so let's start with today. Sunday. Always remembering that whatever we hear is for our highest good, whether it's something we are joyful to hear or something that is difficult to hear. Sunday spirit. Let's talk about this week. What are we heading into? And what do we need to know about it for our highest good? Any events, experiences, encounters that you want to highlight for us for our highest good? Okay, just a couple more. Y'all are the best. I see you doing your thing. Thank you for that. Wednesday, Thursday, here's Friday, and finally Saturday. Okay, let's get into it. Whew. Oh, everybody take a deep breath. Sunday, today, 9 of Wands, 4 of Swords. You are closer than you think to your destination, but if you think that maybe you need to, like, push your head through a fucking brick wall to get there, that's the wrong way to do it. The best idea today would actually be to take a little breath, take a little break, okay? So enjoy the fact that you're pretty close. Ooh, and I feel like so many of us have been working on this for such a long time. And there's this feeling of, are we there yet? And Spirit's like, no, but you're damn close. And you know how, your mom would tell you to pull over if you're driving late at night and you've got a long way to go. It's like, do you push through the night even though you're yawning and you're tired? No. You pull over, you take the nap. Risk, reward. I'm hearing a couple of things, and one of them is like physical. As in, maybe somebody is training, I'm running or I'm doing this type of workout, and you might overtrain or you might strain something if you go too far. So take a breath, take a break, reorient. You could also come up with a much better plan once you've done that, once you've had some time to put your head together. And Sunday is a day for taking a breath. Ooh, I just looked at Monday. I can see why they're telling you to take a breath and prepare yourself and absolutely deliberately pause. Monday, any of you seen Office Space and somebody's got a case of the Mondays? Nobody likes to go to work. Okay, very few people like to go to work. The devil. Feeling trapped. A lot of people who probably feel like, very simply, they're in a dead-end job. Like, I am stuck in this situation. I don't have the option, or at least it seems that I don't have the option to leave this behind. Yeah, exactly. So many of us, Spirit is funny, but Spirit is like, so for many of us, this is just like the alarm going off at 6:30 a.m. Like, oh boy, yep, now I have to dance to your little tune. And that's how Spirit is putting it. And I also feel like, connected to this devil, there is also a disappointment. So the devil and the Five of Cups, somebody kicking over our cups, being in mourning over it. I feel like you really want to take today to get your head together. If you were thinking of like burning the midnight oil. Ooh, I'm even hearing this. So for the one or two people that this is actually going to be true for, if you have like a presentation or a really important conversation or something that is really significant going on at work, I think it's really important that you visualize what you want to get out of it. And this is what I'm also hearing is envision the worst case scenario just so that you prepare yourself. If this is what I hear, this is how I'm going to respond. Okay, so strategic, because the Five of Cups, Spirit is saying you're going to be in your feelings. And this could even be, let's say, this isn't for everybody. Some people, this is very much work. Some people, there is someone in your life whose presence really deeply affects you. And it's like if something goes wrong for them, it bleeds onto you. So some of you may just be close to somebody who has a disappointment or disappoints you. And I want to encourage you not to get trapped in like a thought or emotional spiral of this is how it always is, this is how it's always going to be. That's when you start dancing to the devil's tune and you start acting in ways that are not aligned with you. So I want you to take today to choose really deliberately, how do I want to show up this week? Do I want to show up with courage? Do I want to show up with compassion? Like, how do I want to show up? And I will show up that way deliberately, no matter what anybody else is doing. And I have a plan for what I want to do. If somebody does indeed disappoint me, leave me feeling limited, leave me feeling a little bit abandoned. And I want to point out that as in all versions of the Five of Cups, we still have standing cups. We still have something to enjoy and to sip from. I love this deck. This is a mythological deck. And in this card, we see that a person has lacked faith, and that has led to their abandonment. That's just how I'm hearing it. So let me explain. You see this angel fleeing in the background, this golden god. It's Always Sunny reference for my It's Always Sunny people. This golden god is fleeing because he found this mortal woman, fell in love with her, but told her, we can be together, we can enjoy our passionate love, but you can never look at me. I'm going to come to you in the night, or if in the day you're going to be blindfolded, but you can't look at me, okay? That's the deal. And her sisters get into her head and make her worry about, well, what, he must be doing something wrong. What a weird rule, blah, 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 blah. And so she goes out of her way to sneakily take a look at him, and then he has to leave because that's part of the deal. It's like a god and a mortal woman, and now you have to go, and now I've lost because I didn't have the faith to show up the way that I wanted to. So it's a general reading. These are going to be different messages that resonate differently for different people. I feel like show up the way that you want to and don't be tempted or deterred into like, yeah, wow, Jesus. Okay, we're going to talk about it. I was going to say, don't be deterred into like acting in a way that you don't want to act. And here's one thing that I mean. Let's say you have a person is single and they have a crush on somebody and they really like them, and then that person acts in a way that makes them think, oh, they're not into me anymore, they're over it, they're going to go elsewhere. If what you feel is I really like this person, it would be the wrong thing to do to like pretend that it's not a big deal. Do you know what I'm talking about? And having this contest of who cares less. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, and it's not going to get you what you want. Better to just let your feelings be hurt truly, if that is what is there. Don't pretend, okay? I feel it costs more than it benefits. Even if you think like I'm sparing myself, you know, I'm keeping some of my dignity or I'm saving face. I feel like be honest. Be honest. And that's why they're asking you to think about today, how do I want to show up? Because then I can decide if I'm disappointed by this person or hurt by this person, how do I want to show up in that? Like, do I want to just cut it off? Do I want to be honest about what I'm feeling? You want to choose and not be kind of swept into how you respond or react, as it were. So that's what I'm hearing. Take it on. Why, when I turned over Tuesday, did I feel like, yeah, they're really emphasizing that? I need to take a peek. Okay, good. Things are going to lighten up, all right? Things are going to lighten up. But first, Tuesday. What did I say? I hadn't even turned this over yet. I hadn't even turned these over yet. And Spirit was like, please don't let yourself get stuck into a thought spiral and freak yourself out and tell yourself this is how it's always going to be, or this is how it always is, or this is what always happens to me, or etc. Here's the potential thought spiral. Now, remember, a tarot reading is a wonderful forecasting tool, the same way that you watch the weather and go, okay, I should bring my umbrella because they said it was 80% chance of rain. Okay, that rain could start an hour earlier or later. The forecast is still correct. You can use this information to prepare yourself to walk out of your house with the proverbial umbrella, okay? That's all it's for. Don't use it to freak yourself out. It's not what it's for. There is the potential to get stuck in your head, to get so fearful and to gather insecurities and reasons not to go forward around you. Ironically, it's like you don't know it, but it's a bid to protect yourself. This could go wrong, they might reject me, blah, 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 and so I just won't do anything. That's kind of where the 8 and the 9 of Swords lead to. If you stay in the 8 of Swords long enough, it becomes a 9 of Swords where it feels like, no, I'm completely powerless. This is, I'm freaking out, I'm worried, I don't know what to do. This is, I'm powerless. I'm frozen, like I'm totally trapped in my mind, tortured by the 3 fates in this version of the card, right? Then they call it the nightmare card for a reason. Nightmares are really scary and they're visceral, and when we're inside of them, it feels like this is real. Oh my God. And then we wake up and we realize like the degree to which that nightmare can touch my life is the degree to which I allow it to continue swirling around in my head and making stories about it. You know what I'm talking about? I know, right? I know. So again, I'll come back here and say, this is why they're telling you to start with today, Sunday, by saying, I've come very far. Let me take a step back, take a break, get my thoughts in order, think about what's coming up for me this week, and prepare myself. And they are saying like prepare myself. It's not arm myself, for example, right? It's prepare myself. So I feel, I haven't seen all the cards yet because I'm trying to find them out as we find them out, but I see a beautiful turnaround coming up. Wednesday. You have somebody in your life, Queen of Cups, someone who is a great emotional, Spirit's actually using the word tether. And in this case, they mean it in a positive sense of like, if we're here, we're completely in the air. We're completely in our head. We're completely gone, right? We're not present with what's actually happening. We are wrapped up in our stories and potentially in a spiral. This person is, whether professionally or just like an amateur therapist, counselor, Queen of Cups is very intuitive, very emotionally attuned, very empathic. If you are in a spiral on Tuesday, Wednesday may be the day that either this person reaches out to you, or it could benefit you to reach out to them. And whenever we see a court card in the wild or in a reading, it is, yes, about another person, but it is also about the part of us that resonates with that. So the Queen of Cups within us, the emotionally attuned, intuitive, empathic, compassionate leader comes out of us, right? So somebody could be there to help you, Spirit is being punny, shore up your emotional strength, your sense of self, which is attached to the second card of that day, the Hermit. Somebody who can help you remember you're following your own inner light. This would be you starting to really gauge how you're doing by the external world, how other people are doing. Maybe I'm using the yardstick of somebody else's life, whatever. Maybe I'm comparing myself. We need to come back to us and come back to the people who see us clearly and lovingly. So that's who this person is. And I'm getting a few things. It's like I said, I do feel deliberately for some of you, it's like this is a therapist or counselor that you talk to, or this is a friend that's like a therapist or counselor who just really sees you. That's what they're telling me most about the Queen of Cups, is like this is a person who, when you sit with them, you feel so deeply seen and safe in being seen. That's kind of the Queen of Cups superpower. So being seen and being truly felt can help us get back to ourselves and follow our own direction. So don't get confused. Monday and Tuesday, you might have, there's the danger of feeling powerless. There's the danger of being made to feel like there's no way out or nothing's going to change. And I feel like there's a really beautiful turnaround on Wednesday. And it continues into Thursday. Motion, momentum, excitement, movement where previously there was some freezing. Some feeling of being trapped. And here's a feeling of being freed. Spirit, I love this deck for a very good reason. The Furies are the Fates. It is just, these are the Fates when they're doing their thing, when things are in balance, and they become the Furies when people start acting up. When we, the mortals, start acting wrong, it's when the fears and the towers and etc. start to come. So, Spirit is saying, don't evoke the wrath of the Furies. Don't believe in your fear. Don't invest in your fear. Okay? It's one thing to tactically, like they were talking about, think about what could potentially go wrong and let me prepare for that. It's a different thing to be, oh my God, it's all going to go wrong. Oh my God, I just know it's going to turn out like this. I know it's going to turn out like this. The very least, you can go neutral. I don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't have to become optimistic. You don't have to fake a positive attitude about it. But you do want to pull back into neutral at the very least, okay? So Spirit is saying the Fates look kindly, look kindly upon us on Thursday. Thor's Day, which is really, that makes sense. So the wheel is turning and we see them snipping, we see them sewing, and things are moving. Lots of opportunities. Lest we forget, Sunday, 9 of Wands, Thursday, 8 of Wands. A feeling of, oh, actually, we are on our way. And things are actually moving really beautifully. So I feel like you could just save yourself some, like, internal torture by thinking, okay, if things go a little slow, if there's a delay, if things look like they're not going right, there is actually going to be kind of like a break in the weather, a break in the dam, and things are going to begin flowing again. So let me not stay trapped and invested in my fears, okay? Really important. And actually, courage. Courage is really important for Friday and Saturday. We have a really interesting pairing here. Okay, Friday. I feel like you are getting in touch with somebody from your past. Some of you, it's like a best friend, a sibling. Actually, one thing I'm hearing is cousin. So some people, it's like, that person who really makes me feel like my old self. There's feelings of nostalgia. There are feelings of like, Spirit is also saying rose-colored glasses. But I don't necessarily feel that that's so negative in this context. It's just like the pretty mist that settles over the past. And we kind of, blur out the way that that old boyfriend was kind of an asshole sometimes because we're just like, oh, first love, that was sweet or whatever. So who's reaching out to you? 6 of Cups, Queen of Wands. We had a Queen of Cups earlier. Now we have a Queen of Wands. You've got a cheerleader. You've got a supporter. You've got like a coach. That's kind of how this the Queen of Wands feels to me, because she is someone who sees other people's gifts and helps them to light up even more, to bring out even more of their gifts. This is a person with a lot of confidence and courage and know-how, is what Spirit is saying. Who do you need to reach out to who can also continue to remind you of more of who you are, who could help you move things along in a really glorious direction? I love how, we start the week with Wands and then they kind of go away. And then we finish up the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all with a Wands card involved. This Queen of Wands could really help. The phrase that I'm really hearing is like, can help you get back on track. So again, this is a different person who also sees you, but it's like, I see your potential. I see your gifts. I see your abilities and your skills, and I feel like I could help you get those going in the right direction. That's what I'm kind of feeling. So if any of you have been looking for expanding outside of like your current box or your current career, that might be someone that you want to get in touch with, whether that's your friend, whoever that is. Could be a mentor for some of you, because like I said, there's kind of a coach / cheerleader vibe. Now, finally, Saturday, I want to actually pull one more. I just want a little bit more information. Spirit, tell me a little bit more, specifically about that Five of Pentacles. That's great. Okay, Wands, Wands, Wands. Let's go. Saturday, remembering that Friday we had the Queen of Wands. Saturday, we have the King of Wands. Spirit is saying, step it up and to not be so afraid. The Five of Pentacles is going out on our own. It's sometimes taking an unconventional path. Sometimes it's, for example, taking a pay cut to do something that feels more like what we want to do. So some people may be thinking along those lines of when Spirit was saying, getting outside of your box, or like, sending the resume, making the cold call, going to the networking event is something else that I'm hearing as I look at this. You might meet a Queen or a King of Wands. And again, remember, if you meet them in the external, you're getting a chance to meet them in the internal. So I really like also the progression of Queen to King here. So kind of like a graduation opportunity. When I pulled a clarifier for the Five of Pentacles, because the Five of Pentacles is, we call it the poverty card. It's poverty, whether of like financial or spiritual. Like I feel like I'm going without, or I literally am going without. And I feel like this person is here to remind you that you're on your way to a destination. Four of Wands is that happy homecoming card. It's the glorious, like the party, the celebration that we have when we find our place and we find our community, when we are celebrated and enjoyed and supported for being exactly who we are. So I feel with this as the clarifier, because listen, if the clarifier had been Four of Pentacles or Seven of Swords or something else, I'd say something different. But the clarifier says you are walking in a direction that you are going to be much happier to arrive at, even if you feel a little bit fearful of leaving the one that you have been at before. It's worth the journey. And I'm just going to point this out before we get into the elemental forecasts. This is the boat that we've been watching the whole time. The boat almost at the shore. The boat on its way. And we're here. We're on the shore. We've arrived. We're being welcomed. So, might be a little bit of a stressful start to the week. So stack up your spoons right now. You'll schedule your breaks right now, okay, for the rest of the week, so that you don't get caught up in your mind and go thinking that things are much worse or much more impossible to navigate. Because actually, that boat is all over this reading, so navigation and getting places is actually foretold this week. And so is the fear of not getting there, okay? And that would be one of the stresses of the Nine of Wands, is like, I've worked so hard, so if I'm not there yet, then I'm never going to get there. That's a belief that can get into our head. So I want to tell you, don't let that get into your head and pull you down, okay? It would only be temporary. You've got a wonderful Queen of Cups that's going to pop out and help you and everything. But spare yourself that. And I would say also, consider not getting so attached to your thoughts. You know, there's some statistic somewhere that we think like 99% of the same thoughts every single day, like it's kind of rare for human beings to have an original thought. So consider that all of that information is like, I already know that. I don't need to like think about that. I don't need to dive deeper into that. I don't need to go, ooh, is that right? Like, am I a fucking loser? No, you don't need to like analyze and try to sort, yeah, I'm a fucking loser, right? Yeah, I'm just never gonna. Don't do that to yourself, okay? If anything, go, oh, there I go again, calling myself a loser. That's interesting. That's interesting. When did that happen? That happened right after I had the phone call with whoever or the meeting with whatever, and it kind of kicked this off in me. And so then you can start to do something different with those feelings. You can start going like, is that right? Get curious. Get curious and shift this energy around, okay? Okay. Let's get into the elemental forecast for this week. Remembering that there is a through line through each of the elements. We'll start with the earth signs this week. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and also remember, if you know your sun sign, if you want to look at the rest of your chart, see what your rising sign is, look at your moon sign, any other signs that you have a few personal planets in, there are going to be messages for you within that element, okay? Okay. For now, let's start with Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Ooh, Spirit, thank you for helping us dial into what is happening for the earth signs this week. We want to know the overarching message, the theme of the week for earth signs. That makes a lot of sense. Earth sign coded. Okay. And Spirit, we also want to look at their money and at their headspace. The mental realm for the earth signs. Okay, okay, okay. And what about the emotional realm? Feelings, connections, relationships, friendships, love. Beautiful. And finally, Spirit, their fire, their spark, their drive, their creative energy. What is the vibe this week? We have another message here. You know what? Yeah, this is really, this is very encouraging. So earth signs. Your card for the week or the overarching message, the Hierophant. Consider the powers that be in your life. Consider where you find yourself within various hierarchies, like at my work, but even within my family system. How are my rules working for me? And Spirit is saying something really potent, which is, whose altar are you worshiping at? Worshipping at accidental altars could have you feeling confused, you know, all that 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, like, again, using somebody else's yardstick, putting it up against our life and being like, look at that, like mine doesn't look anything like theirs. And it's like, of course it doesn't. You're you. It's not going to look like theirs. And the whole point of being on this planet is that we are actually all unique individuals. The earth tells us that in a simple way, we all have unique DNA. Nobody could be confused for anybody else's DNA. So as many things that are similar, or we find classifications and organizations of beings, each being is unique. And so trying to measure yourself by anybody else, their system or their life, is a mistake and is a confusion at the very least. At the very least, doesn't have to be some big horrible mistake, but at the very least, it can have you confused. It can have you walking down incorrect roads. Like, oh, I love how this person makes videos. Maybe I'm supposed to make videos. And then you end up trying to do that and it doesn't feel right. And then you start feeling like a loser, or you start feeling like you don't know what you're doing, or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, actually, maybe your thing is just something else and you were sort of hypnotized by the beauty of somebody else's thing. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to look like that. Oh, maybe that's my life path, whatever. This life is a sacred experiment, and you are here to experiment with it. You're not here to get it right. It's fun when we get it right. It's great when it feels like we're winning and we're doing really well. Winning is relative. This is an experiment. You should have fun. You should try things that you want to do, okay? And don't measure yourself up against anybody else. Am I having a good time? Do I feel like I'm growing? Do I feel like I'm going somewhere? Let those be your barometers, okay? I feel that looking at where you are within the hierarchy could lead some of you to feeling, again, frozen, like I haven't gone far enough, like I'm not where I want to be yet. Why am I stuck here? Those kinds of things. The hierarchy is on your mind, one way or another. Whose altar are you worshiping at? Whose rules are you following? And are you following them deliberately, or is it like, you know, your parents' voice is in the back of your head saying that they like this and they don't like that. And even though you feel like you're running your life by your own rules, there might be some old patterns and influences that are beneath your notice, and you want to pay attention. And you know what Spirit said earlier about just get curious about your thoughts, like, oh, where's that coming from? I was feeling really good, and all of a sudden I'm telling myself that it's never going to happen. And actually, like, there's evidence that things are going well, but I'm freaking out or whatever. Get curious, ask yourself questions, and make your own rules. What do I care about? And also, for some of you earth signs, you have wisdom to share. You have some keys to the kingdom, and I really love that this Hierophant has their bare feet on the ground, because that's what Spirit is saying, is like, that is one of the earth sign superpowers, is like having their feet on the ground, having a sense of the real tangible world and what works and what doesn't. So I feel like you have some goodness to share with people, and perhaps some of you feel like you are on this side. Maybe you feel more like the disciple who's going to the school, or the therapist, or the mentor for the information. One way or another, there's information exchange, and I don't want you to accidentally tell yourself that you're not going anywhere and it's not happening for you just because you're looking at where you are with respect to where you want to be. Does that make sense? Things are moving. You are moving, okay? So when in doubt, get back into your body. Get back into the doing. This is staying stuck in the head, trying to like come up with the perfect thing or the perfect plan or whatever in your head. And when we're doing it in our head, it looks perfect. It looks like it's going to work. And then when we bring it into practice, it's not so perfect, and that can feel excruciating. You know, have you ever heard of the tragic gap? In creativity. So somebody, again, let's say that person who wants to make videos, they see some creator who makes these beautiful, like fucking cinematic and glorious videos, and they compare themselves and they say, my God, it's never going to happen for me. You know, like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And then they start to do it, and it looks like shit. It looks like shit. It was not the way that they wanted it to look. That is the tragic gap. And that is the tragic gap that not that many artists are able to traverse. Lots of people pick up a skill. I want to play the guitar. I want to paint. I want to write a book. I want to make a video, whatever. And then they start to do it, and they're like, this is shit. This is shit. This does not sound like Led Zeppelin. This does not look like whatever, whoever the fuck. I should just stop. This just isn't for me. There's a gap to cross. There's a bridge. There's a canyon, okay, that you need to go descend into and get over, up and over, okay? So don't worry about the gap. Embrace it. Say, I'm here to fuck around and find out. This is like, I'm afraid to fuck around and find out. I'd rather stay in my head where it's perfect. This is, I'm going to move some things around. I'm going to try some things. So again, when you get frozen or when you get doubtful, start iterating. Iterate. You're not going to come up with the perfect thing in your mind and then execute and it all goes perfectly. Whenever we start to actually put something into practice, we find stuff out. Oh, actually, that mic isn't going to work because whatever the fuck was happening when I started this stream. I don't know, but we find out by iterating, okay? It's making mistakes is a lot fucking better than making nothing, okay? So make mistakes and enjoy it. That's how we learn. Okay. We have a stalker card from the weekly. Six of Cups, again, someone reaching out to you from the past. Six of Cups, Spirit is really highlighting soulmate energy is something we feel with the Six of Cups, remembering that soulmate doesn't always mean romantic. Sometimes it does, lovely, wonderful. Sometimes that's a best friend, that's a sibling, that's whatever. Somebody who I can really be myself around. Again, I can feel seen, I feel safe, I don't have to dress it up, I don't have to act more sophisticated, I don't have to put anything on for this person. I can just be myself and they appreciate me for who I am. Get around this person. And I feel some of you don't even need to worry about getting around them because they're going to be reaching out to you. But if you are like if somebody pops into your head as I'm describing those elements, it's like that is a person that you should, get together with. Maybe you're the one who's meant to reach out to them, and this is your sign for like, hey, reach out to that person. Enjoy yourself. They can probably also help to bring you out of your head a little bit if you get stuck into like, but this is the right way to do it. No, but I got to do it like this. This is the rules. This is how everybody else is doing it. That person can remind you of your own unique magic. Okay? Okay. When we look at your fire, plenty of fire. Plenty of get up and go is how Spirit is putting it. And you have the higher ground. A lot of things you're taking on. A lot of things, okay? So you might want to, if you have the opportunity to take a thing or two off your plate, I would say do that. But I would also say that you have it covered and that you have the higher ground. You wouldn't pull this card if you didn't have the advantage here. So you can take it on. If you feel like, oh God, I don't even know if I can handle this week, Spirit's like, you can definitely handle this week. And actually, you might end up feeling like I'm on top. Between the Hierophant and the Seven of Wands, you might feel like, yeah, actually, I was able to ascend to a new level because I didn't stay stuck in my head of trying to do it perfectly or trying to never get anything wrong. And I actually decided I'll fuck around and find out. And if I get it wrong, that just helps me learn, okay, that wasn't it. So it gets me closer to right. Do you know what I'm saying? So don't demonize getting it wrong. Don't demonize making mistakes, not being perfect. Don't do that. It's actually how we get better. So embrace that shit. Okay? I'm going to quote you one of my favorite Stoic philosophers. Epictetus said, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Nobody else has to get it. If you want to learn and grow, mistakes are a necessary part of that. So if anything, probably try to learn to enjoy them. Probably try to learn to appreciate them. Trying to be perfect is fucking exhausting, and it sucks all the air out of the room and all the joy out of it, Spirit's like, God, imagine poor humans like, ooh, I feel like making art, but it has to be good. What? No, just make stuff. Okay. Earth signs, I hope that is helpful. Perfection is not the goal. Fun, joy, iteration is the goal. Okay? Okay. Y'all, I don't want to jinx it, but the live is working. I don't see anybody telling me they can't hear me or that things are breaking up or it's lagging. I'm so excited. Okay. Let's talk now. Yes, yes, yes. It's cumulative. A little at a time. Just a little at a time. Much more ideal and much more real. Okay. So Spirit, let's talk to the water signs. From the earth into the cool, flowing waters. The ebb and flow of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Spirit, I want to tune in for the water people. What do you want to share with them this week for their highest good? And what's on the other side? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Ah, love. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I want to say so much, but I'm away. I'm going to pull these cards. Okay. Now, looking at their money, jobs, resources, opportunities for Cancer, Scorpio, Aquarius. The tangible things of life. Gorgeous. Okay. Okay. Now looking at their headspace, Spirit. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, in the realm of thoughts. Okay. And what about their own element, Spirit? What about the cups? What about the realm of emotions, relationships, connections, and feelings? What do the water signs need to know? Okay. And finally, what about their fire, their energy, drive, creativity, inspiration? Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay, you got a couple of stalker cards here. What Spirit said as soon as I saw your first set of cards. Death and the Sun. So Spirit said, "Be not afraid." That was actually the phrase that like booming like Mufasa from the clouds. Be not afraid. Yes, this is a big ending. Yes, this is a big ending. Hey, it's Jimmy. Oh, bye, Jennifer. Have a good shift. Happy to see y'all. Yep, yep. Okay, be not afraid, water signs. Something is coming to an end. A door is going to close behind you. It's not easy. Let's jump right over here. There is a serious sense of disappointment attached to this ending, okay? 5 of Cups. Somebody came along and kicked over our cups, and that was not what we wanted. Why do we fill cups? We don't fill them so that they can get spilled over. We fill them because we want to enjoy what's inside them, right? So when life comes along and kicks over our cups, nobody likes change but a wet baby. Nobody, right? Human beings, even when we think we want change, when it happens, it's a little scary, it throws us off our game, whatever. This is saying something is coming to an end, and it is totally okay and appropriate for you to mourn the fact that this didn't go the way that you were hoping it did. And do we see the sun in the background? Do we see in the background of this image the bridge to the city? That there is a bridge over troubled water, that there is more out there for her when she's ready to go, that these 2 cups are still standing. There are still things in life beyond worth enjoying, especially when we see the death is clarified by the sun. Death and a rebirth, a feeling of, Spirit is saying some of you are going to feel set free. And let me give you an example. Spirit is saying for some of you, a 5 of Cups attached to death into the sun could look like, and this is not for everybody, okay? Don't freak out. This can look like a breakup that allows you to be yourself. So something like, I have to end this relationship. We've all been there, right? And it's not fun. It's not like, even when we're like, I need to end this relationship so I can be happy. Ending the relationship is not a fun experience. It's not a happy experience. It's really painful. It's really difficult. We have to mourn it. We have to go through a period of even missing it and like, oh God, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? Blah, blah, blah. That's a natural part of the process. And the 5 of Cups encourages you not to get stuck there. The 5s to me are like tests, and they're places where we can get stuck. Woe is me is like one of the phrases I would attach to all of the 5 cards, right? And this was not the end all be all. If it felt like the end all be all, I totally understand, I empathize, and it is not. There is more out there for you, and you may be shocked at how much more there is out there for you. Now, in the meantime, take your time, relax. Ah! I hear you, Maria. I hear you, but don't. But don't. Because if what you needed to do was get up and go and fight and all of this stuff, that would be showing up. But instead, it's saying, actually, just like when there is a powerful death cycle in life and we need to put ourselves back together, we have to reintegrate, we have to get our thoughts together, we have to recover. Spirit is saying we want to spend less time in our head, and I think that it would be very helpful for the water signs to do some journaling. Now you can do that in pen and paper if that comes naturally to you, if that's helpful to you. You could also turn on your little, your voice memos or even your video and do like a video or audio diary. Sometimes having a dialogue with ourselves and having somewhere to put all of it can help us come to new conclusions. And that is something that I'm hearing. So it would be very helpful to externalize some of these thoughts so that you're not using your RAM. You know what I'm saying? Like your random access memory. It is slowing down all of your processes to think, and try to figure this out. Putting it down, whether on paper or again in a file, a digital file like a video or audio journal, lets you take it out of your RAM and put it on your hard drive. There, I already had a whole conversation with myself. We have synthesized a new thing that we're going to try or whatever it is, and I'm going to go on with my life with like a clearer mind. Really important for you to do whatever it does that helps you clear your mind. And for some of you, it could be like, let me book a therapy appointment. Let me book a a session with a friend, whatever, to get this all out of my head. And this person really brings me to some clarity. I feel like also water signs, your family, your loved ones are a great support system this week. And also money looks really good. So if anybody out there has concerns about money this week, I see that there's actually plenty. There's more than enough for everybody to be taken care of. For those that may be feeling like I'm in some kind of trouble where actually finances are going to be a bit of a struggle, it feels like there is support out there for you, whether that family is like literal biological, whether it's chosen family, whether it's a community that you are part of that comes together to help out. I'm hearing all these different things, right? So also, don't suffer in silence. Okay? If you need some form of support, whether emotional, physical, financial, you should ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. Okay? That's something that I'm hearing. And I would really, really highly recommend if you were going to take your friendly neighborhood village witch's advice, my most preferred form of journaling for you would be a video journal where you are talking straight to yourself. You are looking at yourself, you are talking to yourself. There is something different that happens when we are dialoguing something out loud where we might have been asking ourselves the same question in our head for weeks and weeks and months and years. And something magical happens when we ask it to ourselves out loud where we might answer ourselves. And that's what Spirit is saying. So maybe today, knowing that we have the 9 of Wands and the 4 of Swords as our daily card, this could be a really good day to experiment with that, okay? Just saying, try it out, see what happens. You might come up with something really exciting. You might feel like, oh my God, I'm ready to take anything on. I know exactly what to do. I have so much clarity now about this, and that's what I feel. And looking at your fire, if you're wondering if you have what it takes, you do. You might be tired. You might feel like you're flagging. Again, we had literally this pairing for our Sunday card for today. So, feeling a little tired, prioritize breaks. And also know that this card says you do have what it takes to keep going and to go forward. So, don't underestimate yourself. Actually, you might really surprise yourself this week. So if something dies off, if you have to trim something away, don't worry about it. It will flourish. It will come back flourishing, okay? Your life, not the thing. Okay. All right. I hope that that is helpful, water signs. Now, let's talk to the air signs. Let's get into a conversation with our most talkative element. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius people, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Dominant. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Spirit, want to tune in for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius people. Spirit, want to know the theme, what you want to bring to their awareness for their highest good this week. Tell me just a little bit more. Beautiful, okay? And Spirit, what about finances, money, jobs, resources, opportunities, projects for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius people? Hey, okay? And we want to look at their headspace, the mental realm. What is the quality of their thoughts? What is the weather? All in there. All right, air sign things. Let's look at their feelings, relationships, opportunities within those connections. What is the emotional weather? Gorgeous. And finally, what about their drive, their energy, their ability to take action? Spirit, where is the fire for my air signs? Okay, air signs, first thing I want to say is don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. There's going to absolutely be the temptation to spend a bunch of time and bandwidth on something that isn't necessarily what you want to be focusing on. Okay? That's just the thing that I'm hearing first card up. Five of Wands is kind of playing with ideas, batting things around. I get the sense that you might, this is just what I'm feeling. One of those senses of, damn, it was like 1 o'clock when I started looking at this, and now it's 6:30. I haven't done any of the stuff I meant to do today, and I'm actually drained. So this could be getting stuck in a comment war. This could be trying to figure out some piece of like tech or something like that and ending up spending hours and hours and hours and hours on it. I feel like plan your time carefully this week, okay? I think that things could flow for you quite nicely if you organize yourself. Let's talk about it. So, overall theme and energy for the week, the moon clarified by the star. These two make really nice bedfellows, okay? If we have to deal with the moon, if we have to deal with like facing our fears, facing illusions, clearing up what is really happening within and without, right? And they are connected. How we feel inside, how we speak to ourselves, how we handle our inner landscape directly impacts the external landscape. Just as an example, every one of us has known somebody who was like physically beautiful. And, you know, if you gave them a compliment, they'd be like, ew, no, I'm so gross. Ew, no, I'm so ugly. And Spirit's like, that internal landscape is very different from the internal landscape of somebody who can go, oh, thank you, when somebody says that. Somebody who feels, no, I'm not, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, is a lot less likely to, let's say, go out and look for a romantic partner, have the confidence to try and do or be something that they long to be. So your internal landscape matters, I will say, almost more than the external. So you want to keep an eye on it, and you want to be noticing what's coming up for you. When the moon is present, more than likely, something from our deep past is kind of like bubbling up to the surface. So with the moon, that can be things like fears. That can be things like, and Spirit is actually using the word biases, but let me explain what they mean. It's like, oh, that could never happen for me. And so you have this blinder on a whole area of life, of stuff you could be doing, but you're telling yourself, like, no, that's not possible for me. And in doing that, we can get confused and we can get lost. So Spirit is asking you too, when we're dealing with the moon, to look for the star, specifically the North Star. The star is doing exactly who she is. I want to be this way in the world. This is what I want to share, right? And she contributes it without trying to protect herself, without trying to, you know, she's out here in the middle of the night, nourishing the stream, nourishing the earth in the middle of the night. Nobody is seeing her. She's not getting applause for this. She is doing what she feels she needs to do. And by nature and by virtue of doing that, she shines. She is joyful. She is nude. Like, she does not need to perform for anybody. And I feel that some people might be feeling like they need to perform, or they're supposed to be at this place, but they're only at this place. And I want to tell you that where you are is exactly where you need to be. That sounds like a cliche. It's not. It sounds like a cliche because it's like, yeah, we've said it so many times, but it's true. There is something there for you. Even if this is, I don't mean this is like the best place. This is going to be your most favorite place. This is where you're supposed to be forever. No. And ironically, if you don't like where you are, the more present you get, the sooner you're going to be able to leave that place. So if you're trying to dissociate away from, oh, I hate my job, or I hate being in this relationship, or I hate where I live, and so I dissociate, rather than get really present with where the hell I am and what is available here, you know, that keeps you there longer. So be right where you are. And even if you just look at it through it as like a handy lens, let me look at my life as if this is happening for me, not to me. And exactly where I am in life, whatever the situation, whatever the location, something is here for me that is essential to my journey, to my awakening, to where I'm trying to go. So let me be a fucking spiritual detective and let me look for it. Let me contribute what I have to contribute, share my feelings. Who do you need to share your feelings with? This is something that I would ask you. And Spirit is being funny, and they're like, it might be you first. Some air sign people struggle with connecting with their emotions, right? Or describing their feelings to other people. So I feel that there is some self-connection to do, and that is going to free you up for a deeper connection with other people. The Ace of Cups is like a beautiful dam breaking open and changing the landscape of your life. So facing your fears, and maybe getting a little friendly with them. Something that I think of when I see this version of the moon is if they don't turn around and welcome this character is creeping up out of the fucking water like a horror movie, about to grab them by the ankle and pull them under. So instead, they should lift off their mask, turn around, grab her by the hand and say, come on, Shadow, we're dancing under the moonlight, join us. We're having a lot of fun. I'm okay with this part of myself. I'm not ashamed of any of my needs or desires or fears or whatever, which is something that the star teaches us, is to be shameless. So we have this card of like your shadow's creeping up, your fears, your worries, the parts of yourself that you don't accept, the parts of yourself that you would rather reject. I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be selfish. So I'm going to push that out and I'm going to be a people-pleasing good girl. Well, guess what? The shadow part of you will find a place to sneak out and snap at somebody or whatever, and you won't look like such a good girl. So you might as well be a whole girl. It is better to be whole than good, right? I believe Carl Jung said, I'd rather be whole than good. It's not going to make you a bad person to be whole, okay? It's going to make you a more safe person to be around, is something that I'm hearing, because you're not going to be projecting your fears, biases. Ew, I hate weakness in other people because I hate it in myself. Ew, I hate when other people get emotional because I'm not allowed to get emotional. Do you know what I'm talking about? You might be facing up to some fears and projections, and you could set yourself free by embracing that you are not always so clear and clean and on top of everything and knowing what to do. Sometimes you're messy, or sometimes you're scared, or sometimes you need, or whatever, and none of it is shameful. All of it is acceptable. And as you accept yourself, you create more flow in your life, flow of generosity. This is like asking for and receiving money, resources, attention, etc. And the Ace of Cups is a beautiful gift, a feeling of, this is really poignant. Spirit is saying that for some people, they will have this experience where when they forgive themselves and they let something go on the inside, it's like, I'm forgiving myself, and maybe I'm forgiving my father or this other person that put that thing in me in the first place that I have to forgive myself for. As an example, maybe this parent instilled a bad pattern of how to treat myself, and now I've internalized it and I've been being my own father or whatever for like the last 15 years. And as I come to that conclusion, and as I forgive myself for doing that to myself, and I even eventually find a way to forgive my, imaginary father for instilling that way of treating myself in the first place, I may get a surprise message from that person that is like, I'm really sorry. That's just what I'm hearing, where it's like, as you become aware that it wasn't your fault, we are all connected. I know it's hard to believe. It's increasingly hard to believe with like the atomization of people and everything, but we are all connected. And when we unhook ourselves from like a part of the net and we say, you know what, I'm not attached to your appreciation, approval, or even your disapproval, like I want to rebel and I want you to see how different I am than you or whatever. When we detach ourselves from that and free ourselves from that and say like, I'm actually just going to be who I am, there might be this, like you broke down a dam and this person feels the work that you're doing and now they're set a little more free. So what Spirit is saying is a really beautiful thing, which is any work you do to care for and to illuminate yourself also serves other people in your life and helps set them free and clarify for them. So it's not your job and not your responsibility, but it's just a happy side effect. So be kind to yourself. When your fears pop up, don't be afraid of your fear. It's enough to already be scared. You don't need to tell yourself that being scared means something really bad is going to happen. Actually, part of the goal this week might be to get to a place where it's like, you know what? I don't like being scared, but it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be scared. It doesn't necessarily mean something really bad and horrible is going to happen or that I've messed up. And Spirit is again using that phrase of like, actually get curious about why fear is showing up. Are you right on the edge of doing something really cool and fear is like rising up in your throat and, you know, demanding that you step back into like your safe box or like the box where I know exactly how everything's going to go? Because you might decide, I don't want to be in that box. So actually that's okay. It's okay that I'm getting scared because I'm stepping out of the box, and like that's natural. So not all fear is a sign that you need to stop. Okay? But to know that, you're going to need to use the starlight of your faith, of your vision for how you want to be and how you want to face your fears. Okay? And face a new, weird, freaky landscape that has a lot more available for you. And that's just what I'm hearing, okay? So it might be a fucking weird week, emotional week. You might have some intense conversations, but I feel like they're for the best. They are definitely for the best. Okay. So now, finally, let's talk to our fire folks. Let's talk to Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius people. Sun, Moon, rising and dominant. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Want to dial in Spirit and see what is the overarching theme. What does it most serve the fire signs to bring their awareness to this week? And how about when it comes to money? Work, resources, projects, job opportunities, Spirit, when it comes to the pentacles, how are things looking for the fire signs? Beautiful. Okay. I'm hearing the phrase working behind the scenes. That's something that I'm hearing for you fire signs. So you might be like, there might be some project or something that you're like wanting to launch or working toward, and I feel like you working on it in secret, and that's a good thing. That's kind of like playing your cards close to your chest for as long as you need to. Okay, let's keep going. Spirit, looking at their headspace. Thoughts, words, messages, communications. What's the weather? Hey, okay. How about their feelings, connections, relationships for the fire signs? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, what's the feeling? Okay? And finally, what about their own element, their fire? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Spirit, want to know, what is their energy level like? Okay. Okay. So I said working behind the scenes and working in secret. And I also want to say, watch and wait. Watch and wait. I feel like you think you lose or lose something this week, and Spirit is like, watch and wait, watch and wait. It's not over yet. That's just what I'm hearing. So let's talk about it. Your overarching card for this week, the High Priestess. Trust your intuition. Don't be over eager to act, which can, you know, I feel like there's a reason why the fire signs in particular need to hear this, because fire signs tend to be like, I was told something, or I heard something, or I saw something, and I'm immediately like, I'm going to react. I'm going to do something about it, right? I'm going to take action, which is very fire sign related. Spirit is saying there's more information yet to come out. There's more data yet to gather. She is sitting, she is chilling, she's just taking down notes. And the High Priestess doesn't make a move until it's time to move. And this week would appear to be chill. Stay in your own world. You don't need to be out here messing with everybody else. There's actually a lot of great work that you could do. A lot of skill building, a lot of money making, a lot of creating. So this is going to be different things for different people, but I'm hearing some of you are, and that makes sense because fire signs, it's like creative people. So maybe you're stacking up posts or pieces of art or pieces of music or whatever, and it's like, I really need to like sit at my work table and create this week. that serves you very nicely. So whether it's a hobby, whether it's a side hustle, I'm hearing a few different things, but it is joyful. That is what you will know the Eight of Pentacles is in your life, is like, I'm having fun as I work on this. I'm having fun as I learn this, or as I grow my skills or my expertise in this. That looks great. So if you've got something that is making you some money, or at least has the potential to, I see put in the work, and I say stay rooted in your intuition. I feel like some great ideas are coming down the pipeline this week. Ace of Swords, brilliant, brilliant idea. And it could be like, this is how Spirit is giving it to me, is like, for a writer, as an example, a brilliant line of dialogue could drop into your head. A brilliant phrase where it's like, that's it. Oh my God. And you get really excited. So clear your mind, clear the decks, make time to deliberately like create a container where these kinds of ideas can drop into your head. Okay. So for some people that could look like, I get up and I take like a couple hour long walk in the morning, because when I'm not, occupied by other things, when I'm not tempted to just get online or scroll my phone or watch TV or whatever, these ideas can drop into my head out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere. You were creating the space. You were making the space to receive. And so Spirit is, when your antenna is up, the messages come, okay? It's just a lot of times most of us don't have our antenna up. We have it focused on other things. So create the space, create the container. You might have an inspiration, a brilliant idea, or even like Spirit is using the word breakthrough when it comes to this. So sit back, make the space and time for that to happen. Spirit was talking about journaling earlier. They're talking about it again. Basically, like, if something is, when they were talking about like your antenna, like you're a receiver, right? That needs somewhere to go. So it's like, do I write it down? Do I speak it into the phone? Do I record a voice memo? Whatever. Make a place for your ideas to go, even if it's like a Google Doc. And I've been thinking about this. I want to do this, and put it somewhere, okay? Because there's going to be a coalescing that happens. And that's how Spirit is putting it, like mosaic pieces. And then all of a sudden, they seem to fit together. All of a sudden just means I would made the space, and then I let them float around. I wasn't trying to grab them and make this happen, and then do this, and then this is what it's supposed to be. I sat there and let it kind of show itself to me, is what I'm hearing. I sat there and I let it show itself to me. So Spirit keeps showing me like artistic and creative people, but I think it's only because it's like an artist lets themselves, you might hear an artist say, as I chisel the marble shows me what it wants to be. It's not that I have the vision in my head and I'm chiseling, yes, this is exactly where, it's that as I chisel, it shows itself to me what the form is meant to be. So again, I get this sense of, don't think that it all happens in here, that there is some iterating, there is some messing with, there is some like put your hands in the clay, put your pen to the paper, mess around, and then it's like as you do that, what Spirit is showing me, this is so funny, like what they're showing me is like as if somebody was writing on a piece of paper, and this their pen, their writing implement, whatever, is like a little lightning rod. And into the pen comes this lightning rod, and it's like, this is exactly, it's like here comes the inspiration because I have an implement and I have like a connection, okay? So iterate, mess with, do it behind the scenes. I feel like it's safer inside a container. There's a temptation a lot when we have a really good idea to like tell everybody about it, or even just tell a couple of people about it. Oh, I have this idea for a book, or oh, I have this idea for a thing. And when we tell them, it's kind of like premature ejaculation. Like how they tell boxers not to have their fun before the boxing match, to wait till afterward to have their fun, because they need to explode in the ring, right? So they shouldn't be exploding anywhere else until the fight is over. That's what Spirit is saying about this creative thing, is you could really spend that energy and that inspiration if you like share it with other people. It should be contained. It should be lovingly contained, okay? It should be lovingly contained. We've got the Five of Cups. There could be a sense of loss, and this is part of why Spirit is telling me to have you keep your idea to yourself and to work on it and to allow it to mature is something that I'm hearing. So you don't like take it in immediately, try to market it or something like that. It's like it deserves more time to become whatever it is, okay? So don't push yourself too hard. I feel like it could result in a little bit of mourning. That's a really fun way to see it. I mean, listen, a little creative celibacy could really ironically get the juices flowing. That's just what I kind of feel. I agree. So don't be, also, don't get stuck on what didn't happen. Because, and this is just what I'm hearing, okay? You may actually find out that in the end, it was a blessing. And I know that that can sound hard to believe, where it's like, no, but I loved that person, or I loved that job, or I wanted that thing to happen or to work out or to stay. And at the time, it didn't feel good. Spirit is like, in time, you might be really happy that that moved out of your way, because it was not for you, and it was not nearly enough. And that is just something that I'm hearing. So mourn what you need to mourn, feel your feelings, and don't let feeling your feelings and mourning what didn't work go so far as to have you losing sight of what is working and putting the work in to what is working, because something is working great and something could go really far. And if you're asking yourself, do I have what it takes, and do I have the skills? And, you know, with so many people in the world who also want the thing I want or want to do the thing I want to do I actually have what it takes? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I feel like conserve your energy so that you can show up like this. And something that Spirit is saying to me is, there's a reason we're telling you to be like this Seven of Wands, as opposed to, I'm looking around because I'm checking if I have a Rider-Waite deck near me, but I don't. In the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this card, it looks very similar. It's a person with a higher ground, one wand against many. But in that version, the guy has one shoe and one boot. So it's like you were barely ready, you barely got out the house, like grabbed whichever shoe was handy. So even without, you know, the perfect resources or all of the things, you're still able to be on top. This is actually saying, get your outfit right too. Like, don't rush out of the house and just, I'm doing this. No, get yourself ready. You know what I mean? Her shoes match. She was like, not only am I going to beat you, but I'm going to beat you looking fly as fuck. And so, metaphorically speaking, what Spirit means is you don't rush. Don't rush. Do this behind the scenes shit so that when you do show up with your wand, you're like, and in the banging outfit. Okay? Okay. We did it. We did it. The camera stayed on. The end cells were booted. The mic eventually worked. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, y'all. It is fun as always. I appreciate you. Next week, hopefully it's going to work again, and it'll like work the first time. That would be fantastic. We're getting there, okay? We're getting there. And I appreciate y'all for not expecting perfection out of me, because that shit doesn't exist. So thank you, y'all. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I really hope this also helps you have a better week. And I will see you next week. Take care. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. And thank you, Maria. Thank you, Fernando, for keeping the space clean and fun for everybody. Appreciate y'all so much. Yes, you're damn right, Elizabeth. Progress, not perfection. We're going to get there. All right. Take care, y'all. I will